Good morning, good morning. So it is Thursday. I actually know what day it is. That's always good, isn't it, to start? So this is one of my days when I know what's going on. It's one of those sort of events of the week that kind of tethers me to the week, which is good because right now everything seems to just merge into one day and I never know what day it is. So hi, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Pauline, hi. Good morning, Kirsty. The sun is shining for me. It's really, really nice. A bit breezy, but the sun's out. That's the main thing. It looks bright. It looks good autumn day. Gemma, hi. Nice to see you. So as you are hopping on, I love to know who we've got. Julie, hi. Morning. So in case you've not done one of these with me before or watched any of these are my regular weekly slot where we sit with a cup of tea, cup of coffee. Might be something different if it's the evening maybe for you. So I have tea. I have a new mug, has anyone noticed? Like a super coordinated coloured mug. My other one is purple and it got so horrible in the inside. I have a new one which has tea in it, but the beauty of those types of mugs is even though the lid's off, it stays warm for so long, it'll still be warm when I'm finished, which is amazing. So the idea of these is that we have a theme for the week now. So this week has all been about getting help, getting support, being able to sort of reach out and get that crutch if we need it and why we need to do that. So that's been the theme of the week. So hence this chat is called Getting Help. Now, next week will be a different topic and we'll kind of put our posts out in connection with that and then I'll go live again on Thursday. So we're just kind of off the back now this week. Zosha, good morning. We're just off the back of our challenge week and that was just a kind of, well, it was a bit of a spin for me to be honest because I was live every single day, lots and lots of interaction, lots of people doing the tasks that I set. So last week we did the Love the Live challenge and then on Tuesday we did a sort of mop up, we did a wrap up with a summary, we did a Q&A and we had a bit of a discussion around some of the things that had come out for people, which has gone amazing, by the way. Absolutely love delivering that. I've created a unit. Terry, hi. So there is now a unit in our group for the first time, and that is called Love the Live Challenge. So if you missed any or you watched one and thought didn't quite go in, need to go back and revisit, those are going to stay there forever. That's a bit of a policy of mine. I don't do these challenges and then pull all the content back out again. It's in there now. If I do ever do that again, it's likely to be different. So there is still masses of value in there that I'm just going to leave in. So it's in there as a unit. You can go back and catch up. You can catch up on Tuesday's session, which was a quick rattle through all the headlines of what we've done. And then, as I say, we kind of opened it up and had lots of discussion on questions. So now I know you're all here, you're all listening. I've got another one of those annoying little hairs. Let's talk about getting help. So tell me first, let's just kick off. Who thinks they're good at asking for help? Who thinks that they're in a place where, and let's be really broad about this because this is going to be where I start. I'm not going to just be talking about your business or something that you're establishing at the moment. Like generally in your life, who's good at asking for help? You know, that sort of putting your hand up and going, actually, I could do with a hand. Big things, little things. Tell me who thinks they're already good at it and I'll tell you what my view of me was and now is in relation to that, just while you're busily telling me about you. I thought I was okay. I thought I was one of those people that wouldn't struggle. So certainly if you put me back into my previous role where I was employed and if I come up with a challenge, something that I couldn't necessarily solve on my own, I would absolutely ask all the time. I was a big believer in there's someone that knows how to do this stuff better than me. I'll go and find out who that is. Massive believer in that. So I would have said, yeah, I can ask for help and I'm pretty good at therefore receiving that help. However, now I actually realise that that's not something that goes throughout all veins of my life. And this is a classic example. So I've been sitting here in this office seeing it raining and knowing that I've got like a load of washing that's almost dry on the line, and you can tell me if this resonates, right? And there were 3 other adults in my house at the time and I was working away or in the middle of a live or whatever it was, and I'm thinking, I hope someone's got that in. But rather than sort of go out, poke my head around the door and go, can someone quickly get that washing in? Instead, I stopped what I was doing and went and did it myself, and sort of walked past those people that could have done it for me. And then when they came and said, oh, well, I'll do that, I ended up being really stubborn about it, going, no, I'm doing it. You know, I've started now. I'm really sorry, my nose is running. That never happens. My nose does not run. And I ended up being really stubborn about this getting the washing in thing, because I didn't want to ask, because I didn't want to allow them to help me, because then it was almost like, well, no, I'm doing it, so I'm just doing it now. And that made me really question and delve a little bit deeper about my principles about getting help. So let me see what you're saying. Deborah, hi. Sorry, I didn't see you pop on. You're getting better at asking for help, Kirsty, but slowly. You try yourself first. Yeah, that's quite a popular one, isn't it? I'll give it a jolly good go myself first. You'll ask, but it's not always easy. So Deborah, we're just answering the question about how well or otherwise, how good or otherwise we are at asking for help, and asking for help in like a really general sense in your life, like asking if somebody can do something for you. So I'm going to split today into two sections, because as I sat thinking about how I was going to sort of package this for you today, two major things came into my mind. One, which was around receiving, which kicks us into the whole, can I ask for help? Can I actually take the help? And then the second one is more around that support piece. So, oh, Terry, you've told me. You've not been good at it, but some life challenges have pushed you into that direction. It still impacts me, and you prefer to be the helper and not the helpee. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, isn't that odd that we almost like have a role, don't we? We almost, we kind of, and as women, and I know I don't like making these massive broad assumptions, but as women, I think we are more the helper, because particularly if you've got family, then you're sort of in that role, aren't you? You're the person that goes and picks up the knocked over cereal. You're the person that goes to the child when they have fallen over, hurt their knee. You're the one that provides the help. So having to go, actually, can somebody help me, is often a bit of a leap. So we're going to talk about two things. So receiving is the first part. Oh, Deborah, you've answered me. Oh no, hang on, Kirsty. Your husband loves to do stuff for you. Yeah, it's taken you a long time to be able to accept that, and you kept thinking you should be doing it yourself. Yeah, absolutely. I think we all still battle with that. It's difficult to ask for help, especially women find it difficult. We're brought up as a carers. Yes, perfect. That's exactly what I was saying. And it's almost expected that we'll just get on with it and solve our own problems. Yes, we're all on the right, same wavelengths. That's good. So we're going to split today, as I say, into two parts: receiving and support. And it's interesting that when we have that sort of default position in our own mind, is that we're the ones that provide. We're the ones that push that help out. We're not the ones that bring it in. What that does to us is mean that we struggle to receive. Now, I'm not talking about just help now. I'm talking about everything. So let's widen our thinking into those examples about receiving. And when we struggle to receive one thing, like the help, like me with my washing, then we block, and we almost put a barrier against receiving anything. So let's use a couple of examples. Me with my washing, that's part of my stubbornness as well, by the way, and that was me kind of making a bit of a point, like, why am I doing everything? But deep down, they couldn't have won, because I felt that was my job. So I would have felt bad about asking, by the way. So nobody could have ended up in a winning situation in that one. But when I don't accept that help, I'm effectively blocking that feeling of allowing somebody to help me. And Kirsty, this will be very true if you've got somebody as close as your husband, your partner, who's wanting to help, but you're going, no, I can do this. And it could be anything. It could be tiny little things, like opening a can. And again, I'm like, I can do this, I don't need a man to open my bottle or my jar, and I'm there going, ugh. I won't ask for help, and I won't accept that help very readily. And the other way that this then can easily show up is lots of different parts of your life. So, who has been given a compliment? Picture, do you remember when we used to all interact with each other? Been given a compliment, and then you almost go, oh no, I haven't done anything special with my hair today, it's just or you wear something new and someone goes, oh my gosh, I love that blouse, that looks really nice on you, and you're like, oh, this old thing, you know, I just dug it out of the water. We brush it off, don't we? That is exactly the same principle as the receiving thing. So if you're receiving well, so if you're saying, oh, you know, thanks very much, that's really, really kind of you, you've received that compliment and you have let that compliment kind of flow to you in the same way that if somebody wants to help you and they say, you know, can I do this for you? Will you let me help you with that? Or I've done this thing, I thought it might help you, here's this thing. And you block it and you go, no, that's unnecessary, I don't want this. You block it. Now what that can then extend to, particularly when we bring it now back into our business, is all sorts of things. You can be blocking yourself from receiving clients and money, and it makes total sense that how we do one thing is how we do everything, and it all goes across all areas of our lives. So if we're in that frame of mind of, I've got to do all this myself, I've got to, you know, I'm sticking by this, and if I'm the best person to do this all the way through, and I will darn well do it, come what may, then you're really sort of resolute about it. No one's helping me. And then all of a sudden someone wants to help you, they offer you something, and you go, no, I'm not receiving that help. Then can you see how that then rolls out and actually pushes those people and that ability to receive away? Because you're like building up a barrier against receiving whatever it is. So instead, what we should be doing is saying, thank you very much, or that'd be brilliant, really, really good, for two reasons. One is that person who is offering to help you, or is offering you maybe a compliment or another service that they want to help you with, they want to give that. And if you're pushing it away, you've probably been on the other side of that, where you've perhaps tried to compliment somebody, or you wanted to do something, just do something nice for someone, and it gets kind of repelled and pushed back. It doesn't feel very nice for you as the person that's trying to give. And it's that whole thing about actually the giving can be just as powerful and just as rewarding as the receiving should be. And yet we've got ourselves into this real funk about, oh, I'd better not accept that because of this, and oh, I'd better not receive, you know, I don't want to receive that because then it blah blah blah. And we almost have to check ourselves when it comes to that. There was an entire it was probably John Lewis, because they're always the ones that stick in my mind. There was an entire campaign from John Lewis one Christmas about a little boy who was getting really excited about Christmas, and the build-up was amazing, and you could kind of follow it, and you got a good idea of where it was going. But then the sort of what would you call it, like the crescendo, that's musical, but like the point of the advert was that he wasn't looking forward to Christmas because of the stuff he was going to get. He was so looking forward to Christmas because of what he was going to give, and it absolutely touched us all, as they always do. But it was because it was showing that actually deep down we want to give, we do want to give, but we have to be able to let that flow. We have to be able to let this receive ourselves, you know, easily. So if you're conscious that you're not a good receiver, if you're not good at taking the compliments, then start to practice, start to have a little chat with yourself when these things come up. And finale, yes, thank you. Start to have a little think about how you might be repelling on a really, really small level. You know, are you able to give and receive at the same level? Are you able to be that carer, be that provider, but then also say, actually, could you help me with this? Or when somebody offers, are you able to say, yes, please, that would be brilliant. Yeah, or is there something that I could help you with? And make it more of an exchange. I used to have a real thing, and to a point, I mean, now it's a bit more difficult, but to a point I still have, but particularly where like childcare is concerned. So there was a family who we used to sort of fall in sync quite a lot, and I would pick up one child and my child, and then they would do mine on another day, and we'd almost sort of take turns so we wouldn't all have to do the school run at the same time. And I used to feel so guilty if I wasn't able to repay that, to walk back from school one day, because I felt like I'd got a sort of burden. But actually it made no difference to them. They liked doing it, and they were getting their charge anyway. Literally it was just as easy for them to get mine as well. So letting it go around this sort of guilt and this, yes, but now I'm a burden to that person, and I have to now repay that thing. We have to let that go, because that eats you up. If you're just going to receive, you have to receive just as it is, and then draw a line. It isn't, you're not now indebted. You're not now, oh, I owe this person now another favour in return, or another compliment in return, or another whatever. Particularly if it's in a really close relationship, like that's not going to work. You're trading off some sort of, well, I now owe you 10 minutes of my time because you folded the laundry, and you now owe me 20 minutes of your time because I did the washing up last night. You know, that's never going to work, is it? You've got to find a way where you can accept these bits of help and actually take that and be able to just let it settle. So think of an example where you know that you sort of repel. So I use things like repel, resist. Could be compliments. It could be something very, very mundane in your life. It could be somebody wanting to help you on any number of levels. But where are you actually repelling? And are you repelling money right now? Are you putting something in your way that's saying, well, I'm not ready to receive. I'm not open to receive. Because starting to dig into some of these things, you will find that there are examples where you've ended up putting some sort of blocker. And it's only when we dig deep and when we really think about it that we can often even see these things, because they might have been there for years. You might have been behaving in that way because of a childhood belief or a story that you've got around a certain money stories. All sorts of things can get in our way, but actually starting to dig into them is where we can firstly recognise it as everything. That's always the first rule. Have a look at it. Yeah, is that a real thing? And then try and unpick it a little bit. I'm just going to go back and make sure I haven't missed any comments. Terry says, you've learned to accept compliments, but you're less able to accept help in terms of actions. I love it when I feel vulnerable to receive. Yeah, there's something in that, isn't there? And this whole sort of strong, independent women thing almost has it made us sort of feel as though, well, we shouldn't. But you can't, they're not mutually exclusive. You're not saying, well, I'm not now a strong, independent woman that can open this jar on my own if you've asked for help with the laundry. Like, they're not, they don't. But it's a stupid example, but actually some of this stuff is pretty deep rooted in it, isn't it? I mean, we always say, well, no, if I'm independent in one way, darn it, I'm going to be independent in every way. You know, I got my stepdad when I first had my own car. I got my stepdad to teach me how to change a wheel on my car. Like, I was never going to change the wheel on my car, like, really, not safely. But I got this thing in my head, like, I will be taught how to change the wheel on my car, and I shall be able to do everything that anybody else can do. And, you know, we're almost sort of swinging the other way. And I hear people talking to their girls who are the same age as my young boys about, you know, whatever they can do, you can do, which is absolutely, that's the balance that both sexes should be brought up with. But are we actually now creating this whole thing about, well, I'll jolly well do it myself, and I'll repel every element of help on all levels? It's sort of, you know, where is that swing, and is it going too far? But yeah, there's something about being vulnerable and letting ourselves be vulnerable. You're absolutely right, Terry. If you find it difficult to do, then start with giving. Yes, giving can, and if you're not very good at receiving, sometimes you're not very good at giving either. So yeah, it's that exchange, isn't it, Zoshi? You're right. It comes from old stories, yeah, all sorts. I wonder how many of us are brought up with the belief that asking was rude. Wait until you're offered, yes. And then we realise that it's other people's beliefs. Yeah, so I want us to almost, like, for the next few days, be a bit more conscious of it, because that's always our first step. So how many times are we repelling or pushing away some level of help? Or if we receive help and it's what would you say, unsolicited, yeah, unrequested, if you just receive help, how does that make you feel? So if somebody shares something with you or they give you something, does that end up making you feel a bit, oh no, what am I going to have to do now for that person? Or, well, why have they done that? You know, getting really suspicious. And I see that. I see that quite often as somebody who will give. So I recently shared some training with someone that I did a good while ago, but in the discussion I was having with them, I realised that this would probably really help them. It's a training that's in my group anyway, but they might not have found it. So I went, found it, and forwarded it on. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's like so, oh my gosh. And I looked and I thought, well, that was nothing. You know, it didn't cost me anything. It was a kind thing to do. I genuinely did it in order to help. But then I end up with these stories of going, oh, what if they think that's like a massive ploy, and that's there's something now that they owe me, or they feel almost intimidated by the fact that I've shared. And then we get on to all this over-analysing. But you know what? That wasn't about them. That was about me, because I feel like that. So if somebody was to do that to me and give me something free, then I end up going, oh, that's just a ploy, you know, and I'm really suspicious about it. So I try to give, and I absolutely give without agenda, but there is still a voice in my mind that goes, yeah, but if people do it to me, they've probably got some sort of agenda. So it's starting to let go of some of those things. It's letting go of that. I will receive. So be it a compliment. So try giving a compliment. Give a compliment to somebody today. And then when you get that compliment, just let it settle and go, yes, this is a good thing. This is a positive thing. I'm going to take this compliment. My mum never accepted help. She used to say that I'll need it in my old age. What, like she's kind of storing it up. Yeah. So it's, you think that your mum can do anything and you forget to act. Yeah, almost like she believes that there's a finite amount of help that she can get, and she didn't want to use the cards too early in her life. That's quite cute. But yeah, it's reminding ourselves. So let's today give a compliment and start to receive a little bit more as well. So be open, be willing to accept that help. And when we need it, and when we think we need it, let's jolly well ask for it without agenda, without feeling then that guilt, without feeling that you now owe that person. Because if that person genuinely wants to help you, that's going to make them feel so good, like letting them help you. So let's just agree with ourselves that help is like air. It's like air, it's like money, it flows, and it has to flow. The more we can let it flow rather than resisting it, pushing it away, creating that barrier for it. You know, if we all helped each other just a tiny bit, it would feel a lot better in our lives, like on so many levels right now, wouldn't it? So let's let the help flow. There we go. That's our phrase for today. Let the help flow. Give it, receive it, give it, receive it. Because the more we do that, the more everything comes and goes in our lives much more naturally and much more fluid. So if there's something you can think you can do today that's going to let that help flow, then do it if you can do it today. Okay, so that is our receiving, which was around, that kind of led on from, can we ask for the help? Can we accept the help? Second part then is about support, because this goes a little bit deeper than just help. And when we ask for support, really odd things happen in our lives. That person will obviously provide that support that you've asked for, or that help, or that whatever it is. And that person normally will be will look for something in exchange. So this is more around like a professional level of help now. So if you need some help in your home, or you're actually looking for like something on a lot more of a long term, hi Tanya, then actually there's an exchange that has to happen. But actually there's a much more positive exchange that happens when people help one another on like a kind of arrangement level, because it then spans into lots of different areas. So let's use the sports analogy as a good example, that when somebody's in a professional sports environment, so like a tennis player, they will tend to have somebody that acts as their support or their coach. Now, they do that for so many levels, on so many levels. They do it from a mindset perspective. They do it from a technique perspective. They do it just from a kind of professional, this is how this industry works level. But actually, it gives them so many different layers of that ongoing support. And when somebody takes coach and they do really well, they get to the top of their whatever it is, they win the ultimate accolade of their particular profession, they don't then go, okay, brilliant, I've done that now, thanks coach, I'll see you later. They continue, because we have a desire. Once we start on a certain path, we tend to have a desire to keep progressing ourselves forward. And to do that, we recognise, or certainly sensible people recognise, that having help and having somebody in your corner who has your back, who can help you, will absolutely progress you to a much quicker end result. It's like the path of least resistance. That's the postman dropping 10 tons of post through my door. Thankfully, the dogs didn't go mad. That's good. So I'm going to tell you about some of the ways that a coach, and this is very much from my perspective. So I was quite stubborn, and again, going back to this help, I wouldn't ask for help. I was like, I'm going to do all this myself. And then finally, I got to the point where early days for me, because I'm fairly impatient as well, I was just about to create this amazing presentation that I was going to put online, and I was going to use it as an advert, and I was going to tell the world that I'd opened my business. I'd created this presentation, tried to get it into some sort of advert or like an online thing, and it just didn't work. Like it so didn't work. I'd spent hours on it. I'd created all of these funky animations and this and that and the other, and I was going to voice it over, record it, and we were good to go. Went totally wrong. And I just looked at these hours of work and just thought, I have no clue. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I used to be really good at this stuff in a different world, and now I'm trying to do something like totally a fish out of water is the phrase, isn't it? And that was me, and it was so frustrating. So I went and pretty quickly put my hand up and went, I can't do this on my own, and if I'm left to do it on my own, I'm just going to give up. So I got a coach really quite early on in developing my business, and what they did for me was effectively wrap up me into an online offering. So they taught me how to position myself in the market, how to use all the various technical tools I needed, and they kind of handed me back my now coaching business, but in an online sense, so that I could market, I could use adverts, I could this, I could the other. And if I hadn't have done that, honestly, I can hand on heart say I would probably now have gone back into corporate, and I'd be doing like a 9-to-5 job, travelling the country, leaving my kids every morning at breakfast club, picking them up at 6 o'clock at night and never seeing them, and my life would just not be what it was. If I hadn't have had that help to get me going, I wouldn't have stuck at it, because it would have just got so soul destroying and failing. It would have been exhausting. So for me, what having a coach means to me is they give you practical help. Like let's be really realistic. You're not going to work with somebody, if you're a sports personality or you're building your business, you're not going to work with someone who is going to teach you how to speak another language, because that's not relevant. So you're going to get a certain amount of practical help, you would assume. You're going to use their knowledge, you're going to use their know-how, and you're going to tap into that. But it goes way above that, way above that. And for me, I have a promise to myself that I will have somebody helping me in my business on a permanent basis, because it gives me all of these things. So I've written some of the things down that it means to me. So number one, the first thing I wrote down, interestingly how these have come out of my head, is that they're a mirror. They're a mirror to you, what you're doing, how you're behaving, how you're turning up, how you're progressing, how motivated you are, how whatever. They absolutely present back to you what you are doing and what you're not doing, and they kind of magnify it. So they can see things in you that you're perhaps got a blind spot to, that you're not admitting to yourself, that you're not even aware of, and they can sort of show you and say, so what's that all about, or why do you think you're stopping yourself doing this, or when you show up in this way, this is what it looks like. And they can actually tell you these things. And a good coach will do it in sensitive way, as opposed to, well, that wasn't, you know, very good and you need to sort that out. But it allows you then to see through somebody else's perspective what it is you might be missing in yourself. So that was the first one. Second one is a guide. That's the second word I wrote. They act as that guide. They help. They're a sounding board. They're somebody that you can mull over ideas with, but beautifully in an entirely, totally non-judgmental way. So my husband is very, very supportive of my business and always has been. And we have sort of almost like mini business meetings where I say, I've got this idea and I've this and the other. And he really does try to understand what I'm doing, and he'll kind of question and look to understand, but he doesn't fully grasp some of the strategies that I use, and he doesn't understand social media marketing, which is a little bit of a blind spot for him. So he's acting as a very interested party, but clearly he's both emotionally and financially invested in my business and me. So he isn't that independent source that I need, whereas somebody independent will say, well, actually this sounds like this, or this sounds like this, and they come from a very different place. They're non-judgmental in terms of their association. Like, yes, they want you to achieve and they should be totally behind you, but they're also going to not be maybe quite so risk averse, and that for me is really powerful. I get some tough love sometimes, which again, you know that I can be direct-ish. I'm not harsh direct, but I will like call it as it is. And if I feel like a client is avoiding something, or they're not facing up to something, or they're procrastinating, then I will in an encouraging way shine that mirror on it and say, yeah, actually you need to this, or you are aware that this, or we'll kind of agree that there's some level of accountability is really key as well. So that accountability, along with the tough love, having that mirror shone towards me, gives me the confidence then to make some decisions and go, okay, how will I react to that? How will I present that to my coach if I'm going to make this decision? Is it packaged? Have I thought it through? Is it enough? Do I feel that that's really drawing me? Am I ready to go for it? If so, yes, I need to put it past my coach, then I'm good to go. And that creates a different level of push in the business. If I don't have a coach, what I do is not procrastinate, but I just kind of sit back and go, well, it's all good, isn't it? It's all fine. But I want somebody that's going to push me on. That is what a coach does for me. Now, I know that the quickest way to get success is to learn from someone that has already done it. However, my stubbornness, coming back to our previous point about receiving, my stubbornness and my resistance to ask for help stops me doing that at times, because I'm at that point where I know the stuff and I know how to apply it and I can help others do it, but then there's still something more that I can learn. So I have to still now, when I'm looking to get a new coach, I almost have to say to myself, you know this is good for you, you know this is what you have to do, you know this will move you forward, but that resistance that shows up in terms of the investment, in terms of the dedication I'm going to have to put, it's almost like I need to just check myself to say, well, I need to learn from someone that's done it already, because what's the point? Like, we're only here once. We might as well make the most of everything that's available to us, like everything. You know, make the most of your family while you're with them, make the most of the free time you've got, the fresh air you can get, just everything. We should make the most of everything we have. So going and finding somebody who's done what you want to do, has achieved what you want to achieve, and learn from them. Like, surely that's sensible. I would not, if I decided to have a total change of career, I would not now retrain myself just by doing it myself, would I? I wouldn't, if I wanted to, I don't know, go into barbering. That's come up because I'm cutting my kid's hair tonight. Lockdown, love it. I'm rubbish at it. Like, I can just about do it, but if that was me going to do that as a change of career, I wouldn't just start from scratch, trial and error. Well, I might try cutting this way and then I might try cutting this way. I'd go and learn from somebody who already knew how to do it. That is the principle that we have learned as human beings. Find somebody that knows how to do it already and learn from them. But yet when it comes to growing our business, we seem to have this massive blind spot around, well, no, I just need to do it myself because that's what I should do. Well, why? When it comes to investing, it's a big hurdle to get over in our minds when we're looking to possibly take on debt when a business maybe isn't in a position where it's making money. So I want to explore that with you for a moment, because again, this still shows up for me. You know, I like to have a certain level of income in the business, but then why would I want it to drop and then suddenly invest and take it lower? But there are very different ways of taking on debt. There's the positive debt that can move you forward, which is an investment, and then there's the negative debt, which is, I don't know, going and buying 4 handbags and just squandering the money and not having anything to show for it, but putting yourself in debt to do it. That's not going to move you forward in your life. But investing something which allows you then to say, okay, so advertising is a good one. So at the moment I am advertising, and that gets my message to more people, which brings more people into my world, which allows me then to help more people. But I have to spend on advertising way before any of the clients who are ready to work with me will come to me. So it's, you know, you have to see the money go down before you're going to then see the money come back up. And investing in anything in your business is the same. But it's just like you have to buy equipment. So I couldn't become a printing business without buying a printer. Well, I couldn't necessarily just create a business out of nothing and learn myself over a shorter period of time if I don't have the knowledge and the skills to do it. So yes, there is a way to do it on your own, and you know, lots of people manage it, but it takes ages because you've got to go and self-teach, you've got to go and find this out, you've got to this, and you're also not getting out of your own way while you're doing it. So there is a fast track to do that, which is learning through somebody else, which is absolutely the best way. Like I say that because that's what I do, and when I have a shift in my business, it's because I feel like I need to then step into that new place. And when I take a coach or I bring somebody else into my business to help me, it's almost like, oh, okay, I'm really doing this now. Okay, I better now step up and meet that. And it kind of spurs me on, and it pushes me into being that next level person. I'm going to very quickly tell you again about the Empowerment Mastermind, because I am absolutely still enrolling, and because we did the challenge at the beginning of November, I'm going to retain that discount for the rest of November, which is 10% off the price of that. So the Empowerment Mastermind is born from the academies that I did, which were group coaching, and they've been just amazing. I've loved everyone, and I love the fact that clients that were in the academy have then stayed with me. But what I very much was conscious of was that it was in the one-to-ones that people got the real shifts. So this time I have freed myself and my time a little bit more to just do one-to-one. So this is 16 weeks of one-to-one coaching. There are 12 sessions in there, so you can have action weeks and weeks where you're implementing things, and there'll be a natural break for Christmas on top of that as well. But this is about us spending time on you, your business, and whatever you need. So what that means is that it doesn't matter where you are, whether you've already got an established business and you're looking to get more consistent clients and grow it, or whether you are literally sat with the most amazing idea that you just don't know how to get off the ground. The help that you receive will be tailored for you over those times we're together. And it could be that we go through quite a structured process, that we say, okay, well, we're going to use certain materials, and during our one-to-one we'll take you through this path. It could be that you come to the one-to-ones and say, oh, do you know what, I've been working on this and this is what I really need help with. They're entirely flexible to you. You also get, as your just as your foundation, I guess, is a massive training vault, which has got, at the moment, it's got, how many hours, check my notes, 28 hours worth of training in there. So they are little video trainings like this but shorter, and then you get a workbook that goes with it, so that you can use that to almost create like your foundation of knowledge. So if we need to, we can look at it in the one-to-one, but actually the one-to-one is much more about you and applying some of those techniques and tools to you and your business. So in there is things like how to set goals that are going to work for you, how to create a marketing strategy, how to use Facebook advertising if you want to, how to be able to identify and get really to grips with your ideal client, how to create your perfect signature offer, how to message that perfect signature offer to your ideal clients. So that's all the practical piece, but then we'll be refining it when we're together. So you get that, plus you get 4 mastermind sessions across that 16 weeks where we all come together as a group, and there'll be guest speakers There'll be deep dives into those discussions, and we can really start to learn from one another and share some kind of collective experience and knowledge in those sessions as well. So that is the Empowerment Mastermind. I can enrol for the rest of November with a discounted rate, and after that it'll be it's going to go up in price a little bit. I have to talk to you to understand you, your business, whether or not I can help you, whether you're ready. So the way to progress that with me is to book a call. Now, you can book a call just by dropping me a message, or you can use the link that I'm going to put at the beginning of this. I'll put it into another post. But honestly, if you just drop me a direct message, we can start to have dialogue, and we can just put some time in for when it suits both of us. But I want to know it's right for you. And if I feel as though your business isn't one that I'll be able to support, you're not in a place that you're ready to do this, I'll tell you. But if I think you are ready, I would love to invite you in and be able to support you through that. You could be in such a different place, and all of those benefits that we've talked about actually saying, yes, I need this help. It's almost a case of saying either I'm going to push on, and in 6 months' time, am I going to be in a different place? Hopefully. Or saying I will be in a different place, and my business will be starting to absolutely pay for itself, bring in those clients. I'll start enjoying my life and having that freedom that you probably is why you wanted to set up your business in the first place. You could be easily in that place just by some concentrated work and getting the help you need. Has anyone got any questions about help, about the academy, about the mastermind, anything at all? There's heaps of information. You probably need a VA. Yeah, and often, so actually that's an interesting point. So let me tell you about me getting other help other than coach help in my business. I got to the point where I was literally working probably 10 or 12 hours most days, and then working at the weekends as well. And it was at the beginning of lockdown, when we knew that the children were going to be off school and we would be homeschooling and entertaining them and all of that stuff, that I said, well, do you know what, it's not practical. I can't continue to work all the hours I was working and then teach the children and just be with them and kind of do the normal care stuff that you've got to do for young children. So I said, right, I'm going to need to get some help. Now, at the time, it was a big leap for me because I didn't feel as though I could justify it in terms of the clients that I was serving at the time. It was paying for itself, but it wasn't paying for itself in a way that it would support like an employee. So it was very much a leap of, okay, well, if I leap in and do this is, again, it's another step up. It's in me taking that commitment in my business. And I was really scared. But actually what it did was almost give me that kick up the bum to say, okay, so we've got to make this work. So I've got to do the bits that I'm essential for. I've got to create the plans. I've got to show up. I've got to be strategic and do the thing that only I can do. And then the bits that I'm not going to do, I'm going to pass on. So it forced me to be more focused. It forced me to step up. So when you make decisions to get help on any level, it might be just somebody to do some graphics for you. It might be a VA. It might be somebody just to do like a single project. It switches your head much more into that CEO as opposed to, well, I'm just dabbling a little bit on social media and I do a few posts and a few lives on Facebook. It's stepping into the role of, I run my own business. I am the leader of this business and I make these decisions and I delegate where I can and I this and I the other. And that's a very different place to be than where I was, which was, okay, I'm going to plan my full social media calendar. I'm going to write all my own content. I'm going to create the graphics. I'm going to do my lives. I'm going to this. I'm going to do the finances. I'm going to do the invoicing, because that's the place you end up being when it's early days for anyone building a business. You are everything. And I think you've got to a point, because you have to understand those elements. But if you can get some help just on one area and that person can take that one piece from you, it frees you up to do the thinking. It frees you up to kind of get your head out of the detail for a minute and decide and work on where your business is going to go, to work on yourself and that self-development and pushing yourself out of what's comfortable to that next level and stepping up. Literally, once I signed up with the VA on like the Thursday, and then the following Monday I got another client, which literally then paid for the VA for like the next 3 months. It was that quick. And I'd heard people saying stories like this, or, you know, when I agreed to take a coach, I then signed my first high ticket, whatever. But literally that did work. So I remember kind of getting the invoice to pay in advance for the VA, thinking, oh heck, you know, that now puts me below where I want to be in terms of the business. But then it literally made itself back within a few days. So it shifted me. It shifted the energy that I was turning up in to my business. And then that continued once I started to get some more marketing help, and now with the adverts, that's shifting as well. So, you know, take comfort in the fact that it's scary, because it is. Like, it's not supposed to be one of those decisions where you go, yeah, I'll invest in this and invest in that. Because if you're feeling like that, you're not investing in terms of, you're not emotionally investing, and you're not investing in truly what can shift you. If it's too easy, it's you know, it's like anything. What you do, you don't need to consider it. But if it's a little bit scary, it is going to focus you, and it is going to push you forward for sure. Absolutely guaranteed. Anybody got any final questions before I go and let you go and have an amazing Thursday? I am going to be with you again tomorrow. So I'm about to go and create an event, but I am doing a spotlight session tomorrow with Shelley, who is going to come and tell us all about her business, what she does, and she has an event that she's promoting for next week, but she's still going to share loads with us that's going to be really, really interesting. So I've offered those before, but if anybody wants to do a spotlight with me, if you've done one before, it's fine, you can come and do another one, particularly if you've taken a different direction and your business feels a little bit different. So principally they are a chat with me. So we both come on like this, do a live, we have a conversation about you, your business, what you're learning along the way, your struggles, your whatever, and talk about your story. So it is a showcase for you, it's a showcase for your business, and hi Dawn, and you can absolutely just tell the world about yourself and your business. So you get to what I describe as borrow my audience, and my audience is increasing, as you've seen. So, you know, have a think about it. Come and watch one that's coming up. I've got one this week, and I think I've got one next week as well. But if you want to do one, then you're more than welcome. We'll have a chat, and as I say, we set it up. It's very, very simple. It's a great way of getting over the kind of fear of lives as well, because you'll be with me and I'll be chatting away, and it'll just be like a conversation. So think about doing that. Okay, I will go. I will see you tomorrow morning at 11. I'm going to go and create the event for that, so look out for that. Any questions, of course, if you're watching on the replay, just tag them in. Any comments, I'd love to see them. I read them all, and go and have a great, great Thursday. See you later. Bye.